Mr. Calloway, how you doing?
DJ Scrap, what's up?
How, how
I'm here
you doing?
for
I'm
technology.
just trying to get that Wi-Fi. You know, some people got it good and it comes in and out. So looks like we pretty stable right now.
That'll work. That'll work.
Yeah, so how's your day going?
It's going incredible. I got a nice full day today.
Okay.
This is a highlight of my day, so I'm happy to be.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to hear that. So first of all, it's an honor to get you on here. I've been doing radio with the same company for 30 plus years. So I started playing your music and I'm finishing it out playing your music. So
This is the 30th year anniversary of I Want to Be Rich, topping the charts for
is
Calloway.
it really? Yeah, because
So
before,
you right
wow.
in there. You right in
Yeah,
there.
like it's so funny. When I was a child starting radio at 83, that was my first radio and club gig. So I was only 17 years old. I had entered a contest. And if you won the contest, you get to be on the radio and mix and DJ the club because the owner of the radio station had the club. So
Oh,
yeah, so I won the battle, but I was only 17 years old. You had to be 18. But my grandfolks drove me there, dropped me off. Good luck, came back and picked me up. So the owner of the club of the station was like, "You're not 18." I said, "No, sir, I'm not." And he goes, "Well, I need to talk to your folks." So my whole radio career, and it was so funny, the first three groups they threw me at to open up for, because the DJ gets on there, gets the crowd hype, it was like a Cincinnati thing. My first group was Roger, and then my second group was you guys. It was just
yeah.
like I had to sit, I was like, oh man, are they gonna give me Midnight Star? And that was you guys. And then we never got to the Ohio players. I was like, man, if that come around, I'm really gonna be shaking like bacon. I was already nervous seeing you guys, and then, I'm standing on the side of the stage. It was out here in Cali, and I was just looking, and then you guys had this intro I could never forget. It was like the intro to Electricity with the vocoder, you
Yeah.
know. And imagine I'm like 18 years old going, oh my God.
What a story. What a
Oh
story.
my God, here we are looking up at icons, and I'm just like, and my boss, he's a lot older than me. God rest his soul, Howard Thomas, he passed away. And he was just like, it's gonna be okay, boy. Just relax. So just to see where I'm at with you, just so much history with you guys.
We go back.
Yeah, you don't know that, but you know that now.
That's
So
right. That's right.
that's right. So, there's so many things I want to ask you. So we got an hour to knock it out. And how did all the musical thing got started with you? I know your folks, your pops, play the air instrument, correct?
Yeah, he played trumpet when he was in high school.
Right, and that's what you ended up doing too, right? Or guitar.
Trumpet, yeah, I would have played guitar first, but we couldn't afford one, and
Right.
I had to wait it out. But by the time I was ready to go to junior high school, my mother said, "Well, if you're going to be in the band, then I'll get you a trumpet. That way, I figure you won't quit if you're in a school band, so you have some structure." So I
Yeah.
got my first cornet, which is like a small trumpet
Yeah. I know
that my mother and my cousin rented for me. So it was a rental, and the trumpet took me, across the country, and then took me through to college, all the way up to being able to help found Midnight Star and leave college, and go on and try to do other things. So yeah, it just takes that one thing where you have the radio station competition and that launched your career. The trumpet introduced me to a whole other world.
Right. Now, was that because I know the air instruments are a little more difficult, so they say, than other instruments. So do you find that true?
Oh yeah, it's very difficult. I played trumpet and the flute and piano. Uh, the flute, I can not play for a while and pick it up, and I'm still pretty much there. The trumpet, you put that down for 2 days, it's a train wreck. So I used to say that the trumpet was a mean instrument, but then I got switched off to say that the trumpet is a lady that needs a lot of attention.
That was Miles' thing, right? Miles Davis' thing.
I don't know who coined that one, but
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
you got to give
Rapper
them a lot of
Miles is
attention.
one of them, but I've heard that before. Okay, so once you mastered that, then you moved on to other instruments, or you stayed with the trumpet most of your career?
Uh, well, I started out, wanting to sing in elementary schools in the choir. Uh, I didn't make the All City Boys Choir, so we gave it to Fred Hirsch, who's a renowned jazz pianist today. Uh,
Yes.
so he and I were elementary school mates, and so when I went to junior high school, I'm like, okay, I'm not getting in the choir. I'm going to pick an instrument. You know? And yeah, so then after trumpet, I taught myself to play the flute, and then I later took a couple lessons when I got to college on flute. But the piano was something that I gravitated towards. My grandparents both had pianos at their house, and I could go there and tinker and figure out what the white keys did and what the black keys did, and how they work together. I realized that once you play all the black keys, everything you play on the black keys is gonna be funky.
You didn't have no lessons, or you just figured it out on your own?
I figured it out because I started, picking out, making my own
Wow.
songs. I never was one to learn a lot of other people's songs. I always wanted to write songs. So even from the very beginning, I'm trying to make up my own melodies.
Got you. Wow, man. So many artists as yourself, they have like a story like that. They just have this interesting story. Nah, I just grabbed it, start putting things together, and a genius is made. So that's incredible. Wow. Because you said your auntie, right? Wasn't she in did she do opera? Was you talking about your auntie right now?
Right. Yeah, my aunt was an opera singer, and she was also a composer. And then I had a couple of uncles that played the piano as well. One uncle who was a very good organist.
Okay.
So yeah, there was some music in the genes. Oh, and then I got some cousins.
There it goes.
Played jazz saxophone out of the
Okay.
area. Yeah, Cedric, and so yeah, it's in there. There's a couple of things that you kind of pick up from your ancestors. If you don't even have to meet them to gravitate towards these things. So for us, it's art. My father was a very good artist. My son's an incredible artist. My brother Vincent, my music partner, is a really great artist, and he's studying and learning every day. So between that and the physical side of Vincent's also a grandmaster in martial arts. So he's
Nice.
but science, art, music, they all kind of come together. Yeah, and my grandfather was a draftsman. He could draft a building with no materials but the pen and the paper. They would hire him to make these drawings to build buildings, and he'd do it free. Yeah, so it's incredible, what you can run across if you don't run from it. So a lot of people will, kind of, they see their gift and then they put it off so long that they figure, well, why should I do it now? And I say to that, it's never too late. When it's a calling inside of you, you don't have to be the world's greatest, but it soothes your soul, your passion is followed.
Yeah. Yeah, I told Leela, like I said, even when me was a child, DJing, that's just my mother growing up with the Isleys and Isaac Hayes, and the list goes on, and just hearing that, and I don't know, it just called me to play music. I played guitar. My parents gave me this little plastic guitar, took some lessons for a little bit, and then I was like, ooh, can I have a Telecaster? It was always about the Telecaster with me.
Exactly.
I don't. It wasn't the Strat. It was the Telecaster. I just like the sound of it. Am I wrong or right? They just got two different sounds.
Two different sounds, and you're gifted to be able to separate them. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah, I would just hear it. I would just hear it. Yeah, the Telecaster. Okay. And then, and as I'm going, I'm an 80s child, so you start seeing Prince on, and I'm like, oh, see, we have connection. Oh, look at Jimmy Anderson, he like the Stratocaster. I'm a Telecaster guy, so that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, the Strat is a little brighter, a little more funky.
Yeah.
All the stroking and chinks is mostly the Strat.
Right.
Like I say, the Telecaster can be more mellow and good for ballad stuff. So it's all about like the trumpet. There's a trumpet, and then there's the flugelhorn.
There is. Okay.
Yes, that's the bigger, fatter one that has
Okay.
a more warm tone. But yeah, to be able to distinguish is an art. It's a good ear.
Right. And then, I had a cousin that started getting on the Stratocaster. His name was Coco Montoya, jazz player. And then he would play both. So after watching him in shows, I was just like, wow, there really is a difference. Once you get older and starting to get into the details of things, I'm just like, man. So yeah, it was always something about the telecaster that just got me all the time, you know. So yeah, I really love that.
It's that love, you know, when you gravitate towards it as opposed to running from it, then you get more out of it. You know?
Right, right.
And
And
it's
that,
like anything in life, whether it's
yeah,
your job or your career, and recognizing that, okay, can I really do this? Or do I go to my passion number 2 and number 3? Because you can love to play football all you want, but if you're running a 640, you know, in the road, you could be in trouble.
yeah, I know I am.
But that's so funny, you know. My thing was sports. I played a lot of sports and then music at the same time. So if it was basketball season, it was basketball, then baseball, then football. But as I got older, each year I would drop a sport because I didn't have time to do sport and music until I got the last one, which was football. And I said, well, football, I'm not getting no bigger, no faster, and I'm already hurt. My bones, I got injuries that are older than most people I know.
Well, my rotator is older than most of my listeners. That damage. Yeah.
So, yeah, my good friend David Parker, he's the baseball player, you know, the Cobra.
Yeah.
They always say, man, I'm envious of you because you can do music all your life, but you know, I can't do sports all my life.
Right.
Yeah, you got a point there, Dave. I guess I made a good choice.
Yeah, because you blow that rotator, I don't know how you're gonna start holding up that trumpet because that rotator starts to
that problem.
Right? Yeah. You won't have a problem because I know my rotator is good on certain movements, but holding it up with some weight, nah, it can't. You know, it's not gonna manage. So that's probably a good thing that you switched it out.
those stretch bands is as far as you need to go.
Yeah, the one you get to exercise it. Yeah.
Little rubber things. Yeah.
You know what? That's so funny. I got one tied on my bed, so every morning I do reps on it when I get up.
That.
Are you really?
I gotta get with that. Oh man.
I got it too. I get up 20, 20, 20, you know, and then I'm like, okay, I feel kind of good today.
Yeah, okay. Add that to my repertoire.
Yeah, it works for me. Then you go back, then the ego kick in, then you heard it again, and then you got to go back to 20, 20, 20 for 6 months, you know?
Right. Yeah, you always quit, yeah.
Right.
That's one of the biggest things in all of life is picking something and not quitting.
Yes.
You know, I tell a lot of the young artists is that the minute you quit, it starts over again. You don't just go back, you know, 2 months or 3 months. No, you back to almost letter A if you quit for too long. And the longer you quit, the harder it is to pick it up. So whether it's you know, exercising every day, or whether it's practicing every day, or whether it's marketing and promoting your career every day. And that's the key to today's music, is that everybody can make some music at home, but to market and promote it is the challenging part that, you know, we have to all master until we attract the team that's going to come and, you know, and help out, and that's be a major label or a manager or whatever case it takes you to get you to the next level.
Right. Yeah. Consistency. That's all it is. You know, people always ask you, you just got to be consistent. You know, I've been at what I've been doing since '83. There hasn't been a break. I just keep going and going. I had downs. There was times where I wasn't on the radio for a little bit, just doing weekends, but you just got to keep pushing it, you know, and that's where you're going to find the longevity at. Yes. Okay. Interesting. So how was it?
I lost your sound for a second.
Because, you know, I'm a man of God. So how was it living next to a church? Am I correct about that?
Ask the question again. It went in and out.
Oh, okay. I said, I'm a man of God, so I know that you live next to a church, correct?
my grandmother lived right next door to a church, and so you know, this church, you know, you could hear music. It wasn't just on Sunday. You know, they must have had, you know, different services going on, because we go back, and I mean, you could hear, you know, the tambourines, the organs, the shouting. It was that kind of love and inspirational. And I'd always be sitting there trying to put my ear and figure out, you know, what are they playing? You know, how does that go? How do you create that?
Wow.
So, yeah, that was part of our musical lesson.
Nice. I know that was interesting. I always wanted to ask you that question. I was like, man, if I ever going to interview him, I was going, how was that being next to a church? But it was your grandmother was next to the church. It wasn't you though. Okay, got it. So I know the Wi-Fi is coming in and out on your end. So I'm gonna wait till it catches up a little bit. I don't know. Can you hear me, Mr. Calloway? Yes, it's yeah, the Wi-Fi on your end. Yeah, you coming in and out a little bit, so we try to figure that out. Let me see if we can get it. Let me know. Yeah, it's still buffering. Oh, there you go. There you go a little bit. Get-
Okay. We're back now. I lost you for all the
Yeah.
time. I had to turn my notifications.
Okay,
I was
that's
getting
all right.
notifications that it messed with my Wi-Fi.
Right, right. Oh, it was just how I was just talking about how interesting it was about the church, but it was your grandmother. But I always wanted to ask you that question. If I ever talk to him, I want to ask him what church. So this has been in the making for years. You know what I mean? I just didn't come up with all this stuff.
A lot of the most incredible musicians of the current day are from the church because they don't teach music in the schools the way they did when we were coming up. So that's the other outlet, for the guys, and so some incredible musicians coming out of the church. There's so much talent and so much teaching from a young age. The more you hear, the more you absorb. You don't even know you got it. It's just there, but it's obvious where
Right.
you got it from. That repetition, and that's that specialized exposure and training.
Yeah, I mean, church got a lot. For me, just playing music all these years on the radio, you can just see the transition of things every decade. Who, the first 80s and 90s, everybody just came out of church before they had a record deal.
Mhm.
Everybody had, everybody was in the church. The DeBarges, everybody was in the church, and then now nobody's really in the church, so you can kind of tell. Even when I saw the Soul Train Awards 2020, because they had Shanice, Shantae Moore, and then they had new artists. And not that the new artists didn't sound bad, but you can tell who went to church and who did and didn't sing choir. I could tell, you know.
There's one thing about performing in your basement as opposed to performing in front of a live audience. And the church is always live, and they're always supporting you, as well as there's no perfect sound systems with monitors and in ear monitors. You got to be singing. You got to sing. So when you take that away, then people are thinking about, well, I made my CD, and and I may have done 100 takes or whatnot. Whereas when you go for the first take, every service, you have morning worship, afternoon, evening. You're in boot camp, as well as the motivational factor of getting the support from everyone around you, because everybody wants you to do good, and you really feel that love. It takes you to another level. You elevate your confidence. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing with DJing. Now you don't have to there's no mixing by ear. There's a computer and it does it for you now. So
Mhm.
when we call them Apple readers, the new DJs, because they look at the computer and they're trying to match up the sound wave, knowing that they're on beat. So it's just, you'll see the new DJs on their computer. So I get mine, I just put it over here. I don't even look at it because I've always mixed by ear. I've always
Right.
been a mixer here. But these guys are like, I go, no, you put the computer on the side so you don't have to look at it. So they're like this. I was like, you got about 500 people out there looking at you. You want to probably pay attention to them a little
You were
bit.
failing.
So we call them Apple readers because everybody use the Mac, so they just like, oh, look at the Apple reader, he ready to eat that
Apple reader.
apple up. So we
Yeah.
make fun of them. I was like, man, quit looking at that, man. Just with vinyl, you had no choice. There was no monitor, there was no air, there was no sound wave to look at. You play by ear. So it's kind of the same concept. You didn't grow from that. You didn't get it from the grassroots, basically. So
Yeah. What you brothers and sisters do with the turntable is amazing. I mean,
thank you.
I studied the turntable when I was a little kid. I saw the lines, And
Yeah.
it wasn't until I went to my first mastering session that I
Okay.
knew how that really went down. You know, each groove is a vibration, and the depth of that groove is how much bass or how much volume that you may be putting through that particular groove.
Right.
In our early with the LP, you could only put so much time on each side. 18 minutes was about it. So
Oh,
four
okay.
songs a side might be, you know, a lot. And the less songs that you put on there, the louder it could be and the more bottom you could be. So
Oh,
my
okay.
boys with the time to be a album had 6 songs on it. So them dudes was hot.
Okay. So
They
trying to
was
try to, it's like
I
trying to
appreciate it.
cram.
And then, you know, the CD came
Yeah.
with the
Wow. It's kind of like
music.
grabbing the, yeah, it's kind of grabbing a 24 track and trying to fit it on a quarter inch, you know, trying to squeeze all that ain't gonna work. That's too much. So so let's talk about Midnight Star because I know a lot of people, you know, probably trying to get to that. So how did that? We'll get into the name because I know, but I know they don't. So how did the group come together? Because I know there's a story about that. I know you went to college. Well, you went to Kentucky, right?
Yeah, Kentucky State University.
Okay. So
Yeah,
is that where
so
you group? Yeah, let me know.
so each group member had its own story, you know, before getting there, that all
Right.
led us to, you know, being at one place at the same time. But for me, you know, I had lots of local bands in my town. You know, the Motown Masters was my first kind of real group, you know, at 15, and then the MD Fire Department at 17 that took me across the country performing, you know, all the hole in walls all the way to Las Vegas.
Right.
We hit Vegas and real life set in because we were doing you know, battle of the bands every night, alternating sets with this incredible Vegas band, and
Right.
playing till 3 or 4 in the morning, and then going to get that 99-cent steak and eggs after the show.
Those were the
But
best though.
these guys were playing, you know, original music, and we were playing like all cover songs. And
Mhm.
at the end of that tour, I said, you know what, Flying the Family Stone put out "In Time, About Time." And I said, it's about time I go learn more about music because I want to compose and write songs. And went back and applied to a couple universities, in Indiana University, there and auditioned and didn't get accepted. But to this day, I'm on the board of advisors, Indiana University
Okay.
American Archive. But Kentucky State University gave me a scholarship, marching band and jazz ensemble, and I went there. That was the greatest thing that could happen to me because they kept the funk alive. Joined a college band there called Funkified, and met
Right,
some
right.
really incredible friends, including another member of Midnight Star, Bill Simmons, was in that group.
Mhm.
And so every summer, I'd go home and start experimenting with what I was learning in school that year from a composition side. And my brothers and I formed a jazz ensemble called Sunchild, and
Right.
we did a lot of original songs and experimented with music and different time signatures, whether it was 9/8 and different keys and different modal constructions, whole tones, diminished scales, and just having a wild time. Such a good time that we soon became a lot talked about in the Cincinnati area and performed at the exclusive jazz club there called the Viking Lounge. In the Viking Lounge, everybody came through from Yusef Lateef to Ahmad Jamal to Johnny Hammond Smith, just incredible musicians coming through there, so we could see them on a daily basis, and then began to perform there, and had the pleasure of being the backing band and opening band for the incredible Sonny Stitt, who is one of the most renowned saxophonists that would play heir apparent to Coltrane and those guys. So that was a lesson. But during that time, I met a manager promoter out of New York, and she said, I'd like to bring you guys to New York for a showcase. But shortly thereafter, the two other members of the band besides myself, my brother Greg, and my brother Vincent, the other two guys, they decided to quit. So now we were starting from scratch. We had this opportunity, which nobody knows how the opportunity is going to turn out. But
Right.
after that, it kind of told me a story that to myself that when I go back to school this particular semester, I want to put together one of the greatest bands in the world, and I want to put together a band that's fit together and not be, faced with the whims of, I got to get a day job, or I don't really want to do this. So like minds, like concentration, and similar experiences. So I went back, and the first person I talked to was Bill Simmons, who also played some time with Sunshine, as well as our group Funkified. So me and Bill were tight as you could be. And so Bill, what I wanted to do is start a group. And was he in? And Bill said, of course. From there, we got Jeffrey Cooper and Kenneth Yant, got the rhythm section. Some, Belinda Lipscomb was an incredible vocalist. She could sing classical, gospel, R&B seamlessly, and dance and perform. Her performances were legendary.
You're right.
Seminar every Tuesday. You had to perform. Belinda would just turn them out. It's like, she just turned out on the classical stuff.
Still sound good. I just heard her a couple years ago. I'm like, man, them pipes ain't going nowhere. Those are lifers, those pipes.
So she was obvious. And then there were the two freshmen who came to school that year out of Flint, Michigan. And that was Bo Watson and Melvin Gentry. So Bo was a keyboard player. We needed a keyboard player. So I heard about Bo, from the practice rooms and whatnot, and asked Bo, did he want to join the group? And Bo said yes. But the next day, Bo says, I changed my mind. I don't think I can join the group because me and my homeboy said we would stick together, no matter what we did. I was like, what does he play? He plays drums, bass guitar, lead guitar, and sings. I said, let's put him in the group. So that was an easy choice. And then my brother Vincent, we pulled him out of high school. He was still in high school, and we had done some demos, and we were getting ready to start performing. And we just had two horn players, myself and Bill, wanted to fill the group out, fill the horn section out. And Vincent came and joined us, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Wow.
We had another member, Dana Madison, who's deceased. Some time back, he was not in the group once we got signed, but he was definitely a part when we were there in the early stages. So I want to send love out to his family.
Okay. So you guys just started cutting demos before you met Dick Griffey? How'd that happen? The whole Solar record thing?
Yeah, we had a path, we knew we had to put it all together, and we had to do it swiftly as we could, but you can't rush time. So we were gigging everywhere we could play in the Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana area. There was like a little tri-state thing, but we did all the sorority parties, all the fraternity parties. We performed in Lynch, Kentucky, which you don't want to go to Lynch, Kentucky. But,
no, I heard something about that. Like, is that a real name? The hell? Okay.
Right? So we knew from that point on, we better know how to play some rock and roll, some country. We better play everything. And we did.
Flip it out? You actually flipped that out?
Yeah, they wanted to hear some country and some blues that night, so we had to make it happen. But that's a musician's job. Go down with the ship, right? The ship is sinking. Musicians have to go down.
Yeah.
But
of course.
Yeah, then we did our first, roles, which was we sent a demo to Motown, and Motown said, "Oh, this is all right. Why don't y'all come back in about 2 years?" It's like, oh, if somebody tells you to come back in 2 years.
Yeah, that's probably a no or something.
Yeah, you got to have some fortitude. And the part about it is that he was right. He was totally right. 2 years later, we signed with Solar, but he missed out on that part. But yeah, it took about that much time to get in there and to begin to learn how to write songs, and how to be a band, how to put on a show, not just play songs, but put on a show. And so that was all a part of our training was coming up that way. So and so then I realized that the person who I met back in Cincinnati at the Viking Lounge, This PJ Watts, I still had her letter inviting me to bring a band to showcase. So I wrote it back. I said, I think we have the band now that you were looking for. And she says, okay, I set up a showcase for us in Palisades, New Jersey, which is right over the river from New York City. We packed the van up, the truck up, all our stuff out of our my grandparents' house in Louisville, Kentucky, where the whole band was staying, except for Belinda and Gant, who lived in Louisville, so they were staying at home. But everybody else, the road crew. And so we were going to move to New York. So everything was packed up. We went. The first night, they broke in our storage and stole everybody's college, your college dorm room stuff was what people had, a couple of albums.
I think every DJ, every musician got that story.
Yeah, they break their albums. And,
yeah.
They didn't break in the truck. The truck was on the street. So the truck had the equipment and the costumes. So we did the showcase. There was, some music scouts there, Ron Mosley, Richard Aaron, and, they dug it and called up Dick Griffey, said, we got this band, that you might want to check out. And that's how it linked. And Dick contacted me and, wanted to come and see us. He flew into Cincinnati, Ohio, and we hit the Palm Room. There's a club there, and we took it over in the daytime. So there was nobody in the audience, just us on stage, and Dick Griffey in the audience, and we had to perform a host. Yeah. At the end of the set, Dick says, I really like you guys. He said, was there a harmony missing? He said, I feel like there was a harmony missing. And we didn't want to tell him because we didn't want to make excuses. But Bill had been ill and couldn't do the performance. So we finally told him. He said, well, I want to see you guys again. And so we were on an Air Force tour. We did 2 Air Force tours in our career, meaning that we performed in every Air Force base in the United States, except for Hawaii and Alaska, and maybe 1 or 2 others. This one was in Las Vegas. So Dick Griffey flew into Las Vegas with his young baby daughter, and we performed. This time it was full of airmen and airwomen. The place was packed. We performed, killed them, turned it out, and Dick says, "How would y'all like to sign my little record label?" And we're like, "Why not? Let's do it."
And that was it. You guys signed up, and everything was going. So how did the whole production? Because I know you had a couple albums, but when No Parking came out, that was like, hey, I know there was a couple before that. You guys had, I don't know, Leon was involved with one of them songs, right? Leon Silves.
Yes. So Dick Griffey asked us, who do we want to produce the album? Right. I'm thinking, like, what is a producer? What does he do? What do we need one of those for?
You know that? Oh, okay.
we picked the incredible musician Harvey Mason, who was a super studio musician and well connected as well. Had produced some other things that we kind of dug, and we wanted to be a very musician type musical band. Earth, Wind & Fire was our idols, so we thought Harvey would be a great choice to keep us in that vein, and we did that. And we even, utilized some of the Earth, Wind & Fire horn section to play on to support some of our songs and different arrangers. It was in fact, it was called The Beginning. We even used the same art designer, graphic designer, artist that did Earth, Wind & Fire's early albums to do our Beginning album. We were it was our catch. Yeah. So it was just beautiful. At the end of the project, Dick Griffey says, y'all did some good work, but I don't see that. He's like, why don't we cut one more song? Let me hear what you guys got. So rather than go into the studio and demo up some stuff, we went back to where we were staying at Richard Aaron's family's house, the whole band there, got the pots and pans out in the suitcases, which is where we all started our musical career, and banged out the rhythm, play a song, the bass part, guitar player song, the guitar part. This song, the vocals, and that song was called "Make It Last," written by Bo Watson, and we sent it over to Dick in that fashion. He says, "Yeah, I think y'all got one there. Let's go record it."
Okay.
And he said, So he says, why don't we use this new cat, Leon Silvers, this young guy, to produce it? I think y'all like him and y'all get along real well. He said, okay, let's check out Leon. Everybody heard of the Silvers. We like get to work with Leon Silvers.
Right.
And, Leon had just finished up a second time around for Shalimar.
I was going to ask you. Okay.
Oh my God, that's a smash! I want one of them.
Yeah, because Leon was nothing like that. Music was nothing like the Silvers when he came to Solar. Nothing, you know.
Yeah,
it was
like another world.
Oh yeah.
And you know, so Make It Last came out as the first single, and it charted.
Okay.
Didn't reach what we wanted to reach, of course. And so Dick said, let's go do the second album, and let's have Leon do the whole album. And that album was called Standing Together. Once again, we combined everything that we were doing before, everything that we learned, you know, wrote new songs, rendered our sound, and kept, you know, edging closer. And that album was closer. No major outbreak hit that, you know, that the world caught on to. We had some hits. We had some songs called Local Gold. Local Gold when you mean you're a hit in one town.
I mean, I knew of it because, you know, I was a music. If you're a music guy, you know. Yeah, you know, I knew of them. Right.
Love, we played it every night. The midnight second love. But at the end of that album, Leon was also a member of Dynasty, and they had already contracted to go to Africa. So before the album was mixed and finished, Leon says, I got to go. Reggie, you got to finish the album. So I proceeded to do that. You know, putting together everything I learned from Harvey, everything I learned from Leon. You know, to make, you know, about tracking from Harvey. I learned about vocals from Leon, learned about hit songs from Leon. You know, what you do. I had to try to get one. And, you know, finished mixing the album with the engineer. And, you know, that was like a training ground. I was like, well, okay. By that time, Dick Griffey says, okay, I think you guys are ready then. Why don't you make the next album yourself? We took the band back to Cincinnati at this point to record a Victory album.
I love that album, man.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, we had a song with Hot Spot.
Hot Spot, man. That because you know I should be, you know, popper, locker.
You were real.
Hey, man, I was like, you know, I was like, God. That was my battle song. Dun, 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 dun. Come out with the horns. I come out like that.
We had reggae, we had ballads, like the way you move me. You know, we were really experimenting. You know, we had Bootsy Collins on the record with Hot Spot.
Yeah.
But the record company, you know, a lot of times it's not just the songs, it's also the marketing and promotion. Record company was going through different distributors. And in fact, we had one of our albums, we had 2 distributors at one time, meaning that, you know, the first single was this distributor, and the second single was this distributor, and it never, you can never get it off, can't strike that match when it's not centered. So it's not always the band's fault, even though when I listen to those songs, I'm still fixing them. I'm still like, oh, if we had done this, if we had shortened that, if we had put this there, if we, you know, so it's hard for me to listen to those songs, but I love hearing them. It was like, you could tell that, wow, these guys are onto something. They just got to put it all together, the finishing touches. So that led into coming to the 4th album. We didn't get dropped. Dick Griffey didn't drop us after 3 albums. But we knew that this next album better be all of that, because we could be getting day jobs and, you know, figuring out how we're going to squeeze music in. Because up until this point, you know, we were surviving off of the Air Force Base. We were surviving because we all stayed in my mother's house that my grandfather was paying very much of the mortgages on, so we could all stay there in one place. And we were super focused. So we had to take double advantage of that. And I mean, we were like so focused. You know, I was going to my martial arts class, and one day I just sat on the floor after the class was over and just cried, just bawled. And the irony of it is that this martial arts class was where my family's flower shop and ice cream parlor used to be. So I was sitting right where the ice cream refrigerator would have been, and the Grand Masters all came over and you know, asked me what was going on. I said, Basically, what it was, we got to get a hit. It's like I don't want this band to break up. We got to.
Right. What kind of martial arts did you take? What style did you take?
It's mostly the taekwondo,
Okay.
and now Shirei-ryu,
Right.
which is no one, but more all in the karate style. But then I've transitioned into more kung fu and tai chi and other forms. But my brother Vincent is a grandmaster in martial art. He's the one that never stopped. See, for me, I always stop because if there was an album project, then
you got to go. Yeah.
To make sure that it's all, because it's mental energy, but it's hard to realize that if you work out, you get more mental energy. But at the same time, there's a choice sometimes: do I eat or do I sleep? Because the rest of the time you're working. But to Vincent's credit, let's say, he's a grandmaster in several different styles. Kung fu.
Wow. I just only asked because I took Ed Parker American Kempo for a long time, so that's why I was asking.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he knows Ed as well, very well.
Yeah. I had my first white belt session with Mr. Parker. He used to come down here where I live in Oxnard from Pasadena, and I got up to my first degree black belt. That's why I asked you. But so anyway, I don't want to get off track. I was just like, oh, martial arts, okay, what'd you take? That's just a martial art. You're just asking. That's all.
But check this out. I just graduated from college in 2013, so that was like 30 years later, and I just got promoted to black belt just by a couple of months ago. My grandmaster, my great grandmaster, he said it's not all about fighting. To be a black belt is more of an accomplishment of being disciplined and sticking to it as it is trying to knock somebody out. So I had to say, do you really want to? But after 30 years later, we want to progress. Right. Yeah, but so that led us to come to a real disciplined system of what we were going to do for this next album.
Sure. So you're talking about you were sitting down.
That for us was we were.
Okay, no, go ahead. I just wanted to hear the rest of the story when we left off.
Okay. We would exercise every morning, for an hour before breakfast. College steps in the yard, run 3 miles, eat breakfast, hit the rehearsal studio, rehearse. At the evenings, break off in the sessions, writing songs, in every room in the house, in the basement, the garage. So it was a serious business. We brought in a manager to assist with my mother with management, Pablo Davis. So Pablo and my mother, Gloria Larson, together a whole system for us. Breakfast, cooking, cleaning, keeping everybody focused on making music, and and not other things like I said, having to get second jobs or having to, being out partying or any of that kind of thing. Because rehearsal was early in the morning, boom, it was incredible. And the studio was the same way. Nothing comes into the studio until it's ready to be recorded. It better have hit potential or less pass on it. Listening sessions where we bring friends and fans in to listen to the music and help us pick what songs that they thought should be on the album. I mean, we didn't leave a stone unturned. Sent some of the product. Dick Griffey was like, send me some of the songs. Let me kind of help you guys out to pick some songs. And I sent Dick Griffey about 4 or 5 of the songs, and he says, oh yeah, he says that that Wet My Whistle, that's definite. I wrote Wet My Whistle for the Whispers, but Dick said, I want you to keep it for yourself. And then after he heard do it, he was like, yeah, y'all keep that one. Yeah, that song over there is good. So at the end of the phone call, I said, Mr. Griffey, what about Freakazoid? He said, Freakazoid, sure, of course we're gonna do Freakazoid. That was like obvious for him. I was like, okay, I was just checking because you had me worried there.
I'll tell you right now, Freakazoid, the game changer. I mean, it was like after that vocoder, every band always had a story about you guys. Oh man, when Midnight Star did Freakazoid, it was like, here we go. Everybody had to come with that vocoder, man. You guys did it, because I always hear you guys get the blame from different groups. They're like, oh man, da da da. But then when they came out with their vocoder, Midnight Star, they changed the game. You always hear that. That was the game changer.
It was a game changer. It was mixing a lot of different idioms of music together. Hip hop was just starting to develop itself, and a lot of East Coast, West Coast, and pop locking and all kinds of things going on. But to take it to what we did, what made it special was we took those beats and those rhythms, and we put a song over top of it, where everyone's chanting,
Yep.
you know. And then, so once you put a song with melody and lyric, then it takes on a whole nother life, because now you're singing and you're dancing, and it's twisted your ear, you know, that the hook on Freak is What. I wanted to write something that no one kind of ever heard before. I said, how do I, they're like avant-garde, you know, how do I bend these notes? You know, I'll be your freak. You know, it's like, that's just like, you hear people like, oh my goodness.
I'm
So
still
mission
getting
accomplished.
chills. I'm
Freak is
still
What,
getting
all the
chills from
doors
when I
down,
first
all
heard
the
it.
walls. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
man.
everything that followed was magic. Then, you know, Electricity, No Parking, like I say, Slow Jam, you know, just trying to make every song be special. You know, it was like I think I look at Mike Tyson when he says every punch is thrown with bad intentions. That's the attitude that you got.
Right. Yeah, that vocoder just changed the game, because Roger was already set with the talk box, but the vocoder was just like, they singing on that. They singing with the vocoder. That was like
That's what,
everybody got blown out by that.
yeah, Vincent brought he brought a personality to the vocoder, whereas everybody else brought just a monotone. You know, he brought
Right.
some other stuff, you know, a personality. So, you know, Xeno Zoe became became something else to contend with.
So that was Vincent's idea about the vocoder?
Yes, yeah. Our first vocoder was a makeshift that he put together with a telephone. You know, unscrew it. You know, the old phones, you can unscrew it and take the
Right.
mechanisms
Yeah.
out. So he took that out and created some stuff because we didn't have one, you know. And so once we
Right.
knew where we were going, we had to go out and find one and buy one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
so
was
you didn't
crazy.
even use the rack mount. Wow, you didn't use the rack mount. You made your own.
Well, just in the demo stage, but we recorded
Right.
it. Yeah, we had
Oh, okay. You have Vincent.
yeah,
Wow.
we had to go out and buy that one. Yeah,
Okay.
it was crazy.
Wow. Oh, man, you guys just put that together. So then you followed up. So Electricity came on after No Parking on Dance Floor, though, right? That was on the fourth album, Electricity, or Operator?
No, that's the album. The same album, No Parking on the Dance Floor,
Okay.
had Electricity on it as well.
Okay.
I just happen to have. This is pretty classic.
Yeah, that's it. Hey,
Still
hey,
classic.
hey, that girl, I lost some count. Hold on to mine. That girl. I was just looking at the video last night, you know, No Parking. I was like, look at Reggie, he had all them moves and everything. I seen.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, that's definite. Man, that's incredible. So anything new coming up, Mr. Calloway, or what's going on?
Well, right now we were really blessed to be a part of the voter movement for the elections. We put out a song called Politics.
Oh,
And I was in the middle of writing my book about songwriting,
okay.
but then one of the chapters is sometimes you got to stop and address what's going on in the world when it's happening.
Right.
You can't wait. So I pulled away from the book and finished Politics. We had written Politics some years ago for Earth, Wind, and Fire, and it didn't get accepted by the album on that album. But Maurice sent us a great thank you message on the album. So when this opportunity came back to me, I didn't have the original version. The only thing I can remember was the chorus. So I totally rewrote the whole song to what it was really cool because we can incorporate some of the current events that brought us to where we are. So I would call that song a super success in that over 150 million people voted. And that's all we do was to get people who never voted, you know, involved, get a rally cry, and what an incredible joy. You know, some number one records are fine and great, but when you touch that number one chord in somebody's life, then that's even better. Because you were talking about Electricity, that was never a single. Slow Jam was never a single. They didn't have the opportunity to be number one records, that they were on a number one album. So just being a part of a team and a part of a project, wow, that's incredible. So my brother and I put that out, as well as you know, a while back when Houston had the big flood. You know, we wrote a song just for Houston to galvanize a particular situation, to try to get the more books back in the school that were destroyed. So this part of our career is about being relevant and being sensitive, and
Sure.
being true songwriters and true artists that address what's going on, and also to party and have fun. So
Right.
like I said, right now is we're closing out the 30th anniversary for "I Want to Be Rich," which is Calloway's biggest song. We're putting out an anniversary version of that, which will be the regular version, the total instrumental flute version. So just the flutes playing the melody.
Okay. Yeah, I need that.
You need that? Okay, I'll make sure you have that. And then
Got my email. Send that over. Also, that politics song. I need those. I want to hear them. So let me send them over.
And then it's going to be a Latin, a Spanish version of "I Want to Be Rich."
Oh, okay. Well, that's my other half. So we good.
I know. I looked at my state. We're not doing that well as we could in Mexico, South America, and we gotta. So Quiero Ser Rico.
Yeah, bring it over. I'll play that thing.
I'll call you for some. I'm gonna call you for some pronunciations. Get my
right. It's okay. Don't give me too much credit. I'm only half.
Trainers, But sometimes we get Americanized ghetto version, a little Spanglish version. Right.
Oh, they'll eat it up out here. I'm telling you. Yeah, definitely.
Next year we put out a new Calloway album talking about the party stuff. So that'll be all party. So y'all got it for that. We're coming with the next Calloway album next summer.
For that. Yeah, it's good to see. Yeah, it's good to see that.
The world will, get the patient up there, get the world, back to a new normal, and let's celebrate life.
Right, definitely.
But also, on the business side, what I learned is that it's about the music and it's about the business. I talked a little bit about marketing and promotion, how we have to get out there and really work our project independently, but also it's about finance. So one of the biggest things I'm doing in the last 10 years is I migrated to the finance of not only how to finance my own projects, but how to finance, other artists' projects. So right now I'm a part of what we call royalties, which we supply advances. Some people call them loans, but they're advances against royalties that you're receiving. So everybody who's making over $5,000 a year in a given royalty stream can now qualify for an advance without selling their rights. Just take an advance against the future income to put more pocket money in their pocket today, as opposed to waiting 3 years to get it. Get it now, reinvest it in your project, rebuild what you're doing, whether it's a need you have to cut some expenses, or whether you're ready to put out your own project, or whether you're ready to build your studio out. There's lots of different uses that you can put money to when you have it. So it's an empowering situation at Sound Royalties. So it's soundroyalties.com. Anybody can reach me at Reggie at soundroyalties.com to
make
get
sure
more
I put
information.
that up.
Reggie. Okay. I'm on all social media, Reggie Calloway, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Easy to find, and we're here to help as many people as we possibly can.
That's awesome. Okay, so any last words for inspiring people in the music industry?
I would say that during these trying times right now, with the COVID virus and even bringing more knowledge to unrest and injustice, be a voice. Say positive things. Use your voice in a great way. And use this time, this slowdown time when we can't perform. Use this time to create more content. Content is king. And own your content wherever possible. We're seeing in the news, the big writers are selling their catalogs for $300 million and $100 million, and everybody sees these numbers and says, "Oh wow, oh wow." Well, those numbers are so big is because they didn't sell it earlier. So if they had sold it 10 years ago or 30 years ago, somebody else would be getting that money. So so hold on to your rights. Use creative ways to finance yourself, but stay consistent, as we were talking about earlier.
All right. Man, that's nice. So everybody get on Mr. Calloway's IG, and I'm gonna post up everything, all the links right here to the gram, so we can get you over there, Mr. Calloway. Like, this has been an honor for me. So I've been chasing you since a baby boy. So thank
Oh,
you
you were
so
telling me
much.
that. Just really appreciate you and your consistency, and what a treat to when you speak with somebody and know your history, then you can go to the next level. So,
Oh, I'm that guy for everybody. I ain't playing around. I'm that guy. So
yeah. Well,
that
thanks
means a
to
lot to me.
all your fans and all
Yeah,
for
you
having
just
me.
made my week on that one. I'm gonna get that, clip it, and see what he said about me.
Chop it up.
All right, Mr. Calloway, we'll
Yeah.
talk again. I'm gonna get you on here again when the Callaways come up with that album. We got to pop on here again. Stay in touch. All the listeners, thank you. Everybody on here, TC founder, Becca, everybody's on here showing love. God bless you, Mr. Calloway, and make sure you send me them songs, okay?
All right, thanks, everybody.
Hey,
Look
I
forward to the
like
next go
that. That's
around.
awesome. I can't do it on that
It's
hand.
a
There
sign
you
of the
go.
freak zone.
All right, then. Have a
Yeah,
good one. Okay, then.
you take care.